Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I really hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with another Coffeehouse Crime. This one is titled The Murderous Mother of the The Murderous Mothers. This is a whole other story. There's two mothers now of the Hart family massacre. Holy shit. I'm excited. Let's get into today's story. Turn the lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle with something special. Let's get inquisitive. No, no, no. Intrigued, because I'm intrigued. Oh, on why mothers murdered their children. And well, I'd imagine it'd probably be children if it's mother. I don't know. That's just.
These are the videos of 6 adopted children given a vital second chance to flourish in their youth. And at face value, the actions of their new mothers, Jennifer and Sarah Hart, seemed to be profoundly kind. But behind these videos...
So I take it those 6 kids was, well, these are 3 of the kids that are killed by their mommies. They looked so normal. What the fuck?
along with a never-ending stream of positive social media, lay 2 monsters upholding a grim and ugly facade. And this story would ultimately lead to mass tragedy. Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime. My name is Adrian, and in today's video we're looking at
Hello, Adrian. My name is Billy. It is a pleasure to meet you.
the deceptive case of the Hart family. The Harts seem to be a progressive family living a holistic lifestyle surrounded by love, happiness, and freedom. But was this an accurate reflection, or
Yes.
just an evil facade?
Yes.
Just so you know, I post solved.
It's both. It is an accurate reconstruction of pure evil incarnates. Boom. Boom. And walk away.
Unsolved and strange cases here on a weekly basis. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to Coffeehouse Crime. So let's dive straight into today's case. Pull up a seat, grab a coffee, and sit back. This is the heartbreaking case of the Hart family massacre. Today, we head into the northern region of the United States, to the seldom populated state of South Dakota.
This is in South Dakota? I would have never known. South Dakota. Bro, whatever South Dakota is as a state. I don't know the South Dakota. Home slice. That's beautiful. Keep up the good work.
Found in the heart of mainland America, South Dakota.
Look at the big old puppy dogs. I know, they're cows, but look at the big old puppy dogs.
Is expansive, with wide open prairies, the Badlands National Park, and incredible natural beauty.
That is naturally beautiful. It's nudiful.
This makes hunting, hiking,
Simply nudiful. Hunting, hiking. Please have camping. I want to go camping. Right on top of that. Right there. Right there. I want a tent right there. That's what I want.
and fishing, very popular activities amongst South Dakota's residents. All the same,
You can't fish on top of a mountain like that. Do you see water anywhere? Right there, right there, right there. No, how about over there? No, still no water. There's no fishing.
for tourists looking to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. And it's here in small town South Dakota that we're introduced to Jennifer Hart and Sarah Gengler. Jen came from the city of Huron, where Sarah
They look so normal. They look like a normal couple.
grew up just outside of Big Stone City. I say city, but Big Stone City has around 500 residents.
That's a village. Yeah, that's like a block. No, it's more than a block. That's not very many people, though.
Same capacity to fill an Airbus
Oh.
A380. The two had very similar upbringings. They were the oldest sibling in their families, brought up in a rural area, and graduated high school at a respectable level. And these similarities between
So they was moderate people.
the two grew, as they both decided to pursue higher education and go to university. They both wanted to become school teachers, although Sarah decided to focus on special education.
Hold up. So what you're telling me is Crazy Kid Killer 1 and Crazy Kid Killer 2 wanted to be teachers, where they teach, I don't know, kids. Not only do they want to be teachers, but also one of them wants to be a teacher for children with special needs, which I'd imagine would be like certain learning disabilities. I mean, if certain learning disabilities are too severe, they would have a special tutor right there with them at all times. The special needs teacher in my school, whenever the kids would have to go to this special needs classroom, it was basically a teacher that was in there, and they would go from whatever class we was in with their assignment. They would go down there and they would help them with the work because either they had like dyslexia or whatever the case may be, to where it was a lot more difficult on them. And they would also help them cope with it a little bit better as well. I don't know how it is in all areas, but that's how it is in my area.
And whether by coincidence or fate, the two also ended up transferring from former universities to Northern State University, found in Aberdeen, South Dakota. This meant that in 1999, Jennifer and Sarah met each other while studying the same course. And very little did either of them know that this would progress from classmates, to friends, to a romantic relationship.
It's true. It's true. True. It was true love. Love at first study group. They had their own overnight session.
Now, South Dakota was not the most open-minded of states in the 90s. And especially seeing as both women had grown up rurally, they felt that they couldn't express their relationship in public. So, Jen and Sarah began their relationship in secret, telling those close to them that they were merely good friends.
I mean, that's the best way. Secret relationships always last for so long, and they are so healthy and strong from all the lies and the deceit, and you know, it's got that sturdy foundation.
Unfortunately, Jen ended
His videos do this to me every time.
up dropping out of university before completing her course, but on the other hand, Sarah persevered and eventually earned her degree in special education. It was after her graduation that Jen and Sarah decided their relationship could no longer be covert, thus leading them to coming out to their family and friends. The couple knew that some of them would have an issue with this, and they actually ended up losing a good number of friends as a result. And so, following graduation and a public relationship, the ever-trans
It's probably gonna fuck up again. It's whatever. We all know you're really here to see me, right? Right, 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 right. Me second guessing myself. Pish posh. I forgot what I was going to say now. None of. Why? Why to any of it? I like. I get that they had to lie on the other stuff. I mean, it is what it is. When you come from a small community like that, there, you go back there, save on bullshit. I can see not. But why would they adopt kids to murder? They seem so normal. And to go through like probably some prejudice and stuff being raised in a small rural community like that and being lesbian, they probably went through some shit. You figured they'd have some sympathy for some poor little orphan children, you know?
Forming couple moved to Alexandria, located in Minnesota, a city famous for its lakeside lifestyle.
Love Minnesota. One day, I will live in Minnesota. I like to have snow when there's supposed to be snow. I don't want the ice. I like snow. They have a lot of it. And I just generally like Minnesota.
The couple gained work at the biggest department store in town, and while Sarah progressed to
See? Minnesota, look how pretty that is. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it gorgeous? We should all go over there.
management, Jen stayed in the junior section. Their time at work was rather uneventful. Sarah was more level and reserved, whereas Jen was described by those working with her as bold, brash, and considered rather abrasive. However, yin and yang, the two seemed to pull into each other's strengths and weaknesses, creating a balanced
No, there's no yin and yang. That would indicate one was good and one was bad. That sounds to me like they was both fucking evil.
partnership. Jen and Sarah lived and worked together, and by the mid-20s they felt that their lives had started to lose its flavour, which in response led them to look elsewhere for satisfaction. The couple therefore decided to apply for adoption eligibility, which can be a wonderful opportunity and a blessing for most. As it turns out,
Which would make sense. They've been married for a while. They're wanting to expand their families. They're wanting to be that typical, everyday, run-of-the-mill family. I understand that. That's, quite a few people's dream is to find someone, be with them until the moment they can't no more, and have a huge family or moderate family, small family. Insert size and number and amount here, here, and here. You know? So, I mean, and they look so normal. I mean, they do look like some teachers. They look like the cool teachers, like the teacher you'd have in like third grade. That's like just cool as shit. Gives you candy, which eventually gives you cavities and makes you a diabetic when you're older. But still, there's candy.
Jen and Sarah qualified, with thanks to them being in the prime of their lives, employed and educated. And so, in 2014, they took a 15-year-old foster daughter under their wing, who they were to look after until she turned 18 and could
That's rough. 15 years old, set in her ways. That's rough. Props.
strike out on her
Unless she's one that they killed as well.
own. Their new daughter's name
See, this is what gets me about Coffeehouse Crime. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He pisses me off sometimes. Because now I'm like, oh, these people are fucking awesome. Like, they're adopting kids. Like, they're living it, bro. Yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. But I gotta remember, they kill. They're murderers. They're murderers, people. Murderers.
was Lee. The first few months with their new daughter
So we can't be happy for none of their accomplishments or achievements or goals. We can't. It's against the rules, the laws. I was going to say laws and rules at the same time. So it's against the laws. It's against the law. It's against the rules. It goes against the Geneva Convention. Like, it's illegal in every state, every continent, every world.
was pleasant, and Jen and Sarah would take Lee out on many adventures. They would often go camping, to amusement parks, and to various local events and celebrations. However, around 6 months after adopting Lee, those around the family began to notice how the couple would constantly complain about the young girl, often sneering at her habits, attitude, and interests. And apparently,
You adopted a 15-year-old. There's two. It starts before they're 15. The two starts way before 15. It's just bad at 15.
it seemed as if the young couple were not taking their role as foster parents seriously. They even went as far to tell colleagues and co-workers that the new foster daughter
They just gonna throw her in a trash can? Was that a trash can?
had a bad habit of picking food out the trash to eat it. Which,
Why would you let her? Why would you? Why? I don't know if I. Okay, I don't know how the perspective is. I'm gonna see if I can make it where it looks like I'm looking at my bitch. Okay, hold on, everyone. Why would you let your child eat out of the fucking trash can? You look at it and you'd be like, "Hey, buddy, I know you had a hard one, and I know you probably have done this 1,001 times, and you, for whatever fucking reason that you've done it. But could you do me a favor? Could you just not eat out of the fucking trash can because it's really fucking nasty and I don't like it. Matter of fact, if you're that hungry, I'll give you more food on your plate and you just don't touch that trash can at all because you just don't need to. Ever. Did it look like I was bitching at him? I hope so. I tried hard.
Which, if you ask me, says more about them as parents rather than the child they were supposed to be caring for. Although the
Right.
novelty of fostering seemed to be wearing off for the couple, the small family of three would eventually welcome two new additions to the family, a younger brother and sister. They were also planning to adopt a fourth child from a pregnant mother once they were born. After returning home from initial visitation, Jen and Sarah showed pictures of the children to Lee. The couple were very enthusiastic, but Lee's excitement seemed to be all for naught. And just 1 week later, Lee was dropped off for what she thought was a routine therapist appointment. But when she got there, she was told that Jen and Sarah were not coming back to get her. There was no goodbye and no explanation to this
Hold up, Mr. Dude. Hold up. Are you seriously? Are you seriously going to just kind of like drive by the fact that these two ladies, I'm going to use this term loosely because they're not very ladylike. This is pretty fucked up, but these two ladies just said, "Hey, buckaroo, hop your pretty little booty in the car. We're gonna go for a ride. Got your favorite toy? Good deal. All right, let's go on in. Go, 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 go! The door will shut when you pull off. Fuck it!" They dropped her like a hot potato. They dropped her like a bunny that was bought on Easter Day. They dropped it so fast. That's so fucked up. I mean, I understand it. Sometimes it just does not work out. But did you have to drop it like you would a dog? A guinea pig? Oh, I wouldn't even do that to an animal, let alone a person. I wouldn't. That's shitty. That child's gonna grow up and be a serial killer so hard into someone's face. Vehicular manslaughter serial killer.
decision. They'd abandoned the young girl once again, entirely ripping her out from a stable environment. In the year 2006, 2 years
That's
after
so
sending Lee
fucked
back to
up.
the foster care system, they officially adopted 3 new children. They were 2-year-old Abigail, 4-year-old
Why? Why? These two hookers just dropped one. Like, she dropped it like it was hot. They both did. They dropped her like she was hot. And now they're adopting 3 more. Well, I mean, these ones are considerably younger. This one here, not gonna be no trouble at all. This one here, gonna be a handful. This one here, gonna have to be the protector of the two, because imagine that's the brother. Probably why they're together. A lot of times in situations like that, they try to keep brothers and sisters together. It's sad, but you do what you can. But if you can't handle one teenager, you're not gonna be able to handle 3 kids.
Hannah and 7-year-old Marcus. Statistically, these children were part of several categories that made them more difficult to place in care, as sadly, race plays a big part in succession rates when it comes to foster care.
Does it really? That's what I thought. You should adopt just because you want a child and you can't have one, or it shouldn't matter. I mean, it, I mean, stupid.
Terms and conditions meant that they also had to be adopted together, which in turn made them harder to house.
Probably brothers and
Now,
sisters.
this is where Jen Hart began to regularly post on Facebook. She documented their first night as a family of 5, which surprisingly included accidents of urination, pooping on the walls, a tumble, and even the need for the Heimlich maneuver. This
Yeah, there's all that. Man, there's poop on the walls. There's poop in the pants. There's poop everywhere but where poop is supposed to be. There's poop in toy boxes, covered up with toys, like it is a kitty litter box. And, as an adult, you're walking through the house like, man, the dog shit somewhere. And then you're like, wait, we don't have a dog inside the house. Why am I smelling shit? And you're looking everywhere for it, but it's so strong, but you don't know where it's at. It's like it just keeps getting. It's like hotter, 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 cold, cold, hot, hot, hot. Ooh, yeah, it's steaming like right there. Ooh. And then you pick up a toy and it's like, huh. And then while you're running around trying to get all this cleaned up, your youngest child starts laughing hysterically and runs off, and then comes back crying like its whole world has been shattered to no end, because while you're running around trying to get countless toys and everything else cleaned up from all the poo, that he decided it'd be cool as shit to see if daddy's keys and phone floated in the toilet. And they didn't. And it made him sad. But your oldest is just sitting on a couch, eating a spaghetti-o, eating some spaghettios, watching cartoons like it's not even nothing. It's fun.
This all sounded very hectic for a first night, and although Jen expressed that the children were unruly, misbehaved and troubled, she insisted that her and her partner were committed to healing the children over time, stating, if not us, who will? And although raising 3 children was obviously a challenge, just 2 years later, Jen and Sarah were once again looking for more children to adopt. This application was eventually approved, and in the spring of 2008, the couple were given 3 more young children. They were 5-year-old Devont, 4-year-old Jeremiah, and 3-year-old Sierra. With the introduction of 3 new family members came complications, as now cracks out.
Yeah, you get 6 motherfucking kids. That's complicated. It don't matter how you slice that shit. You can slice it 6 ways. It's still gonna be complicated.
To form within the family's dynamics. Later that year, the couple would be called into school over abuse allegations, as Hannah had shown up to classes with bruising on her legs, and when asked by one of her teachers, she told her that one of her mothers had hit her with a belt. Jen and Sarah claimed ignorance, and perhaps maybe she was bruised while playing. As a result, no charges were filed. Rather suspiciously, but all 3 children at school were.
Was there an investigation? We're gonna come in and keep an eye on you for a while and watch you like a hawk while you sleep type shit. Was there? No? Well, there should have been. There should have been. If I was in charge, that's what would have happened. Everywhere, every time, every place, it don't matter. What you doing?
Were then taken out of schooling not long after this incident, before finally being re-enrolled after social services were informed.
See, that's shady. That's shady.
Officially adopting the final 3 children, Jen frequently took to social media in order to show.
I mean, can't someone get in contact with the adoption agency and be like, hey, we think there's something wrong? Can you do something to where we can do something? Something needs to be done.
The world of the rather unconventional family, which now consisted of 2 white lesbian mothers and 6 black children. Sarah stayed in retail to support the family, and all in the meanwhile, Jen stayed at home with the kids, often taking them out and away to what Jen described as transformation festivals. Events of music, dance, yoga, and other activities.
Oh, I mean, they do look like they're having an amazing freaking time, though. It's gonna freeze up again. I guarantee it. These videos do this to me every time. Every time. It don't matter. I've watched this video like the first 3 minutes, and I can tell you exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds each time. It completely just. I've re-downloaded it 4 times. I don't know. What's gonna do? But they look so happy and normal and kind of hippie-ishy. Hippie-ishy? Hippify?
Activities which could last for several days. This change in lifestyle led the family to relocate from Minnesota to Oregon in the year 2013, where they could now focus on a community that accepted them and be close to their favourite musicians.
The one in the back looks so creepy.
Soon after moving, Jen and Sarah finally married, taking.
See, they look normal. 100% normal. 100%. Kind of look like extras off of Weeds. They got that soccer mom tinted glasses look to them, you know, like the lady off of Weeds.
Jennifer's last name Hart for Sarah and the children. And it's from here that Jen's carefully curated online feed exploded with posts about her family. She would post pictures of them at festivals, in their garden, looking after the house and other activities. Jen's posts were overwhelmingly holistic and based around the values of love.
It's my 13th birthday, and yeah. And free hugs.
Love, acceptance, and community. And the family would often be seen going to festivals, rallies, and even protests. Jen posted as if they were a perfectly progressive, happy family, and it raked in the likes. When it came to the hearts,
they look normal. Are you going to skip? Are you going to go forward some? It did, but we're still here. Okay, they look so normal. I mean, they look like a normal little family. I mean, yeah, not what you think conventional, but they look like an amazing little family. They all look happy. Oh, look at the puppies. Yeah. What happened? How can you go from this to, you know, kill them all? What the fuck?
the general public attitude was always centered around the two mothers saving their adopted children, and of course, that they were the perfect family. This performative behaviour is best displayed in a video from the Beloved Festival in 2013, where Devont sported his free hug sign and got on stage to give the performer an emotional embrace in front of a large crowd.
That's not weird.
However, offline government files began to paint a very different picture. The school began to notice bruises on these children, and they would also tell teachers they were locked indoors and left without food, leading them to steal from other.
It does, and then it just sometimes. I don't know if y'all get to see it, but I see it. It'll just, and like, yeah, this looks like something off The Exorcist whenever it catches up with stuff, because it's
the children. Abigail also claimed that Jen had accused her of stealing and punished her by dunking her head in cold water before striking her with the back of her hand. But before anything,
what the hell does this look like, olden times? Just chop off a hand and keep on going.
thorough investigation could be conducted, all 6 children were removed from school and the family officially began homeschooling instead.
Damn, and they're both teachers. I mean, or at least one's a teacher, right? The other one bitched out. Couldn't do it. Couldn't handle the pressure.
Shortly after this, whistleblowers around the family started contacting Child Protection Services. They claimed that Jen ran the family like a boot camp and that the children seemed to fear her. And a very twisted detail, but Jen supposedly withheld food from the children, only rewarding them if they posed her Facebook photos, or as she asked. Photographers that worked with the Harts often posted detail, but Jen supposedly withheld food from the children, only rewarding them if they posed for Facebook photos, or as she asked.
We're getting pizza tonight. Kids, okay. The parents, we're getting pizza tonight. Here's kids. Yay! Parents, all right. Everyone come get their one slice of pizza. Did you post to Facebook today? Yes, mommy. Here's your slice of pizza. Did you post to Facebook today? Yes, mommy. And I also did a Snapchat, a tweet, and an Instagram post. 2 slices of pizza. Overachiever. Employee of the month. Get 'em, buddy. Did you? No. You don't get shit. You don't even touch the scraps. They go to the puppy. And all of a sudden, you're a mean one. Mr. Grinch. Starts playing in the background just out of nowhere.
Photographers that worked with the Harts often described how when taking photos, the children were smiling and seemingly happy. But as soon as the session was over, they'd go back to being miserable and
Those are my exact words. They look so happy. How?
lifeless. The CPS would eventually interview these children about their home life, and although these interviews were independent, they all gave strangely similar accounts, all of which denied any abuse taking place. It was now becoming a possibility that the life Jen had posted about online was a complete fabrication, and those close to the family were now
Their happiness is not real. Does that look happy to you? Does it? It does not look happy to me.
now starting to see that. Public attention to the family came in 2014, when this image of Devont went viral. He would become known as the boy who hugged a police officer at a Black Lives Matter protest, and it gained so much attention that it was eventually featured on several news channels and
I didn't know him as that. I didn't know him at all. How bad?
Saturday Night Live. Jen always wanted attention. That was plain to see through her social media. But eventually, her accounts would go radio silent in 2016, only to return in 2017 to claim that those around them didn't understand their alternative and progressive lifestyle.
I wanted to read that. I unplugged from Facebook for over half of this year. I've had to change my/our phone numbers twice. I've steered clear of public settings for the most part, rather than answer the floods of messages like, "Where have you been? Why haven't you responded to my texts?" etc., etc., and etc. I'll try and address some of the things that led to the disconnect. See more. Proceed no further. See, that's contradicting. How can you see more but yet still proceed no further? And wherever that is, that's really pretty.
Only to return in 2017 to claim that those around them didn't understand their alternative and progressive lifestyle. In their hiatus, they decided
Now it just sounds like a bunch of excuses.
to move to Woodland in Washington. It was a convenient time for them to do so, as things were heating up with the CPS. They therefore moved silently not to alert.
Can't they just find you, whenever y'all get jobs and shit like that, and just get in contact with Child Protective Services there and be like, "Hey, bro, just to let you know, they are definitely doing something. They've ran like 500 times." You can't get away from the government, bro. Once they got you, they got you.
them. They would eventually find a spacious 2-floor farmhouse in Washington countryside, and Jen's Facebook posts would resume after this. Images of the children started to resurface, and Jen was trying to return to her previous attention-seeking updates. However, behind the scenes, the abuse was still happening. So much so that in the middle of a warm night in July, 15-year-old Hannah Hart jumped out from her bedroom window and ran to a neighbour's house.
Her? That poor baby jumped out her window. Was it on first floor, second floor, third floor? I don't know how many floors this house has. He might have said. I don't pay attention good. Your brain not work right sometimes. There we go. That's awful. Just going to jump out of her window, run to her neighbor's house.
Dana and Bruce DeKalb were awoken by a distressed child at their door. She begged for food and pleaded not to go back home.
No wonder the poor baby from the first ate out of the trash can and they had to get rid of her. I would have ate out of the trash can too.
And not long after this, they could hear the rest of the Hart family calling for her. And of course, not to be surprised, Jennifer explained Hannah's behaviour away, claiming that she was lying for attention. Very shortly after this, the CPS were called over the situation.
Yeah, there's some kids that I feel is being highly abused. Okay, I'm going to give you the address of my daughter's house because it's right next door.
Okay, and what's going on there?
The other night, a little girl jumped out of the second-story window on the roof and then down onto the ground and ran to my daughter, and this is like 2 in the morning, begging them to help her. And when they came looking for her, she was begging my daughter not to let them know she was there. And then eventually my son-in-law let him know. And then she had all 4 of the kids come back later and to say everything was okay, and they were all standing at attention like they were just scared to death. And I think there's something very serious going on there. I'm very concerned for these kids.
I like that fella. I like him.
The very next day, the DeKalbs received an apology.
Dear Donna, Bruce, I stopped this morning because I feel awful about disturbing your peace and worrying you in the middle of the night. I was very frustrated with my brother and didn't handle things very maturely, and I'm sorry for telling lies to get attention. I'm working on being more honest and finding better ways to communicate my frustrations. I've been really sad about 2 of our cats dying recently, so I was just very sad and frustrated last night. Thank you for being kind. Hannah. That's from Tears of Beatings, my dude. Don't believe none of the hype.
Letter, which was supposedly written by Hannah. However, the wording and terminology used doesn't quite reflect that of a 15-year-old girl.
No.
The DeKalbs didn't want to get involved in any neighbourhood disputes, but this incident made Dana very uncomfortable, so as a direct consequence, she began to keep tabs on the family. Grounded children, incessantly shut blinds, and a very distinct lack of food and malnourishment were all recorded in her diary. And very shortly after this, the next child to knock on their door was Devont, and he was more coherent and subtle with his wording. Asking the DeKalbs for food, he requested if they could place a care package at the edge of their property, and out of sight of his parents. He also admitted that Hannah's claims were true, and he wanted the family to call social services. Social health services were deeply concerned, and on March the 23rd, 2018, they responded by marching to the family residence. However, after arriving, there was no answer at the door. Coming back 3 days later, more concerning details arose. The driveway was now empty, the family truck no longer visible, and debris and cinder blocks were scattered across the driveway. The result of their car...
Like they peeled out in the middle of the night, like some crazy cracked out bat out of hell, like some really bad movie on Lifetime.
Driving through a small wall. It appeared that the family had left in a hurry. Dana had a sinking feeling about this. She knew why they were running, that was obvious. But despite her suspicions, she was not prepared for the events which followed. 2 days prior, on March the 24th, 2018, Sarah and Jen ushered their 6 adopted children into the family truck. They explained to them that they were going on a road trip, and although they did this often, it was never so abruptly. Jen Hart took to the driver's seat of the car, and seconds later drove the family away in a hurry, this resulting in her smashing through the wall in the process. Contrary to her usual gloating, there were no posts online about their road trip. But their phones would ping at multiple towers along coastal roads, heading south as they left Washington, passed through Oregon, and then entered California. Along the way, they stopped at a service station to buy food, and with the kids...
Yeah, if you ever run, just, what you should do is just turn your phone off altogether. If you got an older phone or one of those phones where you can actually pull the battery out, pull that out, pull the SIM card out of it, Be teachers, they really are stupid.
Kept inside the car at all times, they were never spotted at any of these stations. On March the 25th, the day before CPS returned to their now empty house, a surveillance camera captured Jennifer at a Safeway. The couple eventually stopped at a Walmart in California, where Sarah bought a large bottle of Benadryl, an antihistamine with strong side effects such as drowsiness. Sarah then returned to the car, and while preparing food for the family, she slipped Benadryl into their sandwiches. 19-year-old Marcus receiving the highest dosage of around 20 pills. And all in the meanwhile...
And they were so hungry, he probably didn't even care that it tasted weird. You're going to taste that. You're going to taste that. Poor things were so hungry, they did not give two fucks.
While Jen was drinking several beers. This was out of character. She didn't drink often, but today was evidently different. With the children now deceptively fed, Sarah and Jen returned to their seats. Jen behind the wheel after around 5 drinks, with Sarah scrolling away on her phone. The family left Walmart in the early hours of March the 26th, and took off along the coast once again. And during this time, Sarah was on her phone searching for answers to questions like, how much Benadryl would it take to kill a 130-pound woman? How long does it take to die of drowning and hypothermia? And does it hurt to die? Following these searches, Sarah herself consumed 42 pills of Benadryl, and driving further along the coast, the family stopped at a cliff near Westport, California. The children still in the back of the car without seatbelts, drowsy and delirious. The family truck stopped, but only for a brief minute. And as the atmosphere around settled into quietness, Jen ruptured the silence as she put her foot on the gas pedal, accelerating, heading towards the edge of a 100-foot cliff. And picking up speed, the truck cascaded off the edge with the family inside. And falling at 90 miles per hour, the truck hit the rock-riddled ocean waiting for them at the bottom. At 4:15 p.m. on the 26th of March 2018, officers were alerted to a car wreckage at the bottom of a cliff near Westport. Police and fire officials arrived at the scene to find the upturned vehicle partially submerged beneath the swell. And floating in the tide were the bodies of Abigail, Jeremiah, and Marcus Hart. Upon raising the vehicle, 2 adult bodies were discovered. And now,
Oh. See, it's all fun and games until it gets serious. Now we have to be serious. Not good at that. Man, that's shitty. Oh, I just need a second. Like, I knew it was coming, not like that, but I knew death was coming. Death was around the corner somehow, somewhere, some way. Because, hence the title, Murderous Mothers of the Hart Family Massacre. Yeah. We knew it was we knew it was coming, people. I just didn't know it was coming like that. Like, it came hard. It came fast. It came everywhere. I heard it after I said it. Damn. Let's continue on.
5 of the family were accounted for. They had all died from blunt force trauma upon impact.
Was that numbers inside the mouth? I swear to God. Yes.
2 adult bodies were discovered.
have ADHD and...
And now, 5 of the
Sorry.
family were accounted for. They had all died from blunt force.
Is that numbers? Why is there numbers in this person's mouth? Why is there numbers? Why is there numbers in you? Is there numbers? Do we all have numbers?
Trauma upon impact. There's no mystery, surprise, or trial to this case. The actions of Jennifer and Sarah were both obvious and deliberate over time, and in the wake of this terrible tragedy, a community would be left to grieve over the loss of 6 young children. With not all children accounted for, there was still a small glimmer of hope that maybe the missing 3 had survived. Therefore, missing persons reports for Hannah, Sierra, and Devont Hart were distributed. However, just 2 weeks later, Sierra's body was discovered floating near the crash site. And a further 2 months later, authorities discovered a small foot which was identified to belong to Hannah Hart. To this day, Devont's body has never been recovered, but it's very likely that he was swept out to sea. Initially, authorities thought that maybe this was some tragic freak accident. Maybe the brakes had failed, or maybe they'd been driving while tired. However, there were numerous pieces of evidence to suggest that this event was deliberate and heavily rested on the fault of Jen and Sarah. The first piece of evidence was more a lack of evidence. There were no skid marks at the scene, leading officers to believe that the car had not attempted to brake, and rather, it seems to have accelerated. This was backed up by the truck's black box, which showed that the car had stopped briefly before rapidly accelerating before the crash. Although the bodies took months to recover, the investigation into what led up to this tragedy began on the day of the crash. Upon exploring the lives of the Hart family, they found a household devoid of any childhood joy. Inside the home, there was no indication that the 6 children had even lived there. There were no toys or games, and the frames that hung up on the walls and placed on the mantelpiece were all empty. As a result of autopsies conducted on the children, they found that all but one of them were malnourished and underweight, being the size of a child around 3 years less than their respective ages. So as it turns out, the holistic, happy lifestyle that Jen had portrayed online was all a fake and evil fabrication. These poor children were showboated for her own satisfaction, only to be neglected until they performed well again. And in a sick twist of irony, the good mother that she had relentlessly pursued to express would instead lead to her becoming one of the most internationally recognised terrible mothers. Nobody will ever fully understand why these 2 women decided to end the lives of 6 innocent children. They were being chased by child protection services, and they had debts piling up from raising such a large family. But there is nothing that should have caused this tragedy. It's understandable if they felt overwhelmed with having so many children, but their solution to this problem was by far the worst of all options available. Their actions prior to this day were not innocent either, and in the end they claimed 6 innocent lives, all of which because they were too scared to face the consequences of their negligent actions. And that's why we should remember these children instead. Abigail, Hannah, Marcus, Sierra, Jeremiah, and Devont. They were all young individuals who were already given the shorthand in their childhood, and when enrolled into a system designed to improve their lives, they became puppets for selfish gain and gratification. They were failed by their caregivers, the system that put them there, and of course their evil carers, Jennifer and Sarah. Had CPS acted sooner in the 2 states they lived in before, then maybe something could have been different.
Yep.
And as for Jennifer and Sarah, these 2 women expressed themselves as upstanding citizens who wanted to help those in their fragile time of need. And while their attempts to create this facade initially worked, their final actions in life will permanently smear them as cruel, heartless, negligent evil parents, who were master manipulators not only to themselves, but to everyone around them too. It is such a shame that these 6 children would ultimately walk into their path. This was a really tough case to cover, not just by the amount of lives lost, but all the potential and youth lost too. We all know that life can be unfair, but these kids deserved so much better.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there is no silver lining to this story, and unfortunately, that just about completes today's video. But thank you so much for watching.
What do I want to do? I just want to rip my face off right now. That fucked me up. The ending fucked me up. I'm telling you. Does it every damn time. Every other flipping time. All right. If you all enjoyed today's story, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange things that just make you want to rip off your face and just eat it across the world, think about subscribing. I'll see you out there. You'll be another person without a face. I got you. As always, be good to one another. For the love of God, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Oh my God. Doesn't Can't CPS do like some kind of tracking? Cars have black boxes like that that tells shit. I did not know that. That's creepy and cool all at the same time. I I I don't know how I feel about none of this. I know I normally have like some weird snarky something to make after everything's said done and over with, but this was just awful. Like I really wish it would have just been different. Just, not like completely different, just, completely different.